It is Friday, July 12th, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by our friends over at Booking.com. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, intern Tommy along for the ride as well, as we have our final show before the All-Star break. And we are fortunate because we'll be spending the next few days together come Sunday. I'm looking forward to that.
I always love our early morning get-togethers on the way to the airport. Another very early flight for us. I'll be picking you up, I don't know, sometime in the wee hours of the morning. And the conversations at that point, you're just so honest and open. I feel like I'm just grabbing you and just getting all this knowledge out of you before you even know what's going on. So it's like I'm stealing it from you.
Yeah,
but
you'll be happy
to willingly giving it up.
Well, you'll be happy to know that when we do see each other that early in the morning, I have brushed my teeth and I have put on at least deodorant. I can't confirm whether or not I always shower. I usually shower the night before a flight, but when they're really early, is that bad? Is that bad protocol? Are you okay with that?
I don't ever smell you. That's fine. I when I wake up in the morning, I shower. It doesn't matter
how early it is.
Anything, yeah.
Okay. All right. Usually, well, I'll try and shower then early in the morning because I don't want to disappoint you. I don't want to do that. All right. We got so much stuff to get to, but let's start with a pair of tips of the cap. The first one goes to Cal Raleigh, who for the second time in 3 games this week, homered from each side of the plate. Pretty cool. So why not a tip of the cap for him, right?
A stud. He's also stealing some bags. I feel like I read a stat that him, Johnny Bench, and Pudge Rodriguez are the only catchers with 15 home runs and 5 stolen bases before the break. So, let's go, big dumper. Attaboy.
Yeah, he's not letting that big dumper slow him down. The other one, I thought this was really kind of a cool moment. Your Twins all-everything guy, Willie Castro, because Jose Altuve pulled out of the All-Star game. Marcus Semien moves up to become the starter. They needed another second baseman. So, yeah, he got an early knock at the door, and it was his skipper, Rocco Baldelli.
I wouldn't wake you up for too many things, but one thing I will wake you up for is to let you know that you've made the All-Star team. So we got some great news this morning. I couldn't be happy for it. Come here. Thank you. You got it, Willis.
A very touching moment. Very cool. I have to admit that if there was a knock at my hotel door and it was my boss, I don't care how good the news is. I'm not so sure I want that.
It was an interesting. I haven't actually asked the guys about this yet, but yeah, what time of the morning was this? I mean, they're on the West Coast now, so it's even. I guess it's better for them if you're on the West Coast. It looks like the windows are open. He looks great, by the way. Who looks that good in the morning? I got to deep dive into this, but yes, a very touching moment. And Rocco is a very personable guy, so maybe a lot of managers would have called at that point, or just. I guess it's their off day, so he had to do something. But to go down and do it personally, I think it's pretty cool.
FaceTime. I would have sufficed with FaceTime. I don't like people knocking at my hotel door, period. I usually don't answer it. I'm that guy.
Away.
Yeah. How about it would have been great if he yelled through the door, "You made the All-Star team. Congrats."
I would have actually preferred that. For sure.
Yeah. That would have been better.
Your hotel room is kind of like your sanctuary. Like nobody needs to go in your hotel room.
All right. Well, speaking of the All-Star game, that's going to kick things off today. As expected, Paul Skenes is going to get the nod for the National League. That happened on Dan Patrick's radio show. If you haven't seen the clip, go watch it. Torey Lovullo, who's the manager for the National League and the Arizona Diamondbacks, called in, kind of interrupted the interview that Dan Patrick was conducting with Paul Skenes. And he said, "Hey, I want to let you know you're going to be the All-Star starter." And Skenes, who's not a real high-low guy, meaning his heartbeat kind of remains right here through everything. You couldn't tell whether he was about to start the All-Star game or he had just been told he's got an appointment for a root canal. It was, I was like, dude, come on, man. You're 22. You're starting the All-Star game against Gunnar Henderson, Juan Soto, and Aaron Judge in the first inning out the gate. Show a little emotion. He's like, yeah, that's cool.
I think he expects all this, Chris. From, I don't know him personally, but from all accounts, he's the hardest worker in the room. When he said, I think he had to face the Cubs for the second game in a row, and he said, "Good luck." Like they got a book on me. Good luck. Like he just expects to be good because he knows the stuff. He knows how hard he works, and that's his mentality. And shoot, man, if you ask me what kind of mentality I wanted my starting pitcher to have, it's that one.
Yeah, I just thought maybe there'd be a little bit more emotion, but he is 22. I do. You know what? I love this about the Pirates is that they let him do national shows. We've seen him on McAfee at least once, if not multiple times. Now he's doing Dan Patrick. I hated the way the Washington Nationals handled Steven Strasburg. And I know that not everybody can be this outgoing, energetic personality, but I do think, and I know that things have changed since Strasburg came up almost 15 years ago, that there's so much more media, including right in your hand with a phone. But at the same time, I think that this is part of the job, that he is going to be the face, hopefully, of the Pirates franchise for a long time, one of the faces of this sport for a long time, that you need to be out there. Strasburg, they only let him talk after each of his starts. You couldn't talk to him in between. You couldn't talk to him the day before. They were very, very protected. They babied him. And I always thought that was kind of an injustice to him. I like the way the Pirates and Paul Skenes are handling this whole thing, whether or not he's going to give you great answers or not at this point.
Do you think it's them or it's him? Like, do you think I almost feel like he thinks of it like, hey, this is just part of the job. I got to do this stuff. Everything is just like uniform. Like, okay, this is my job. This is what I got to do. Let me go do it.
Yeah, I do. And I think that this is part of the gig. He probably doesn't love it. I hope it's something that he gets better for his own sake, but it's not the most important thing in the world to me.
10 years, 10 years.
Uh-huh.
$225 million. Does he say yes right now?
I don't think so. I don't.
What kind of insurance does this guy have on his arm right now? That's what I want to know.
Well, I mean, the thing is that if you just play the percentages, odds are that at some point over the next 5 or 6 years, he's going to miss significant time with an arm injury. I've spent a lot of time talking on Rose rotation. Well, no, Tyler Glasnow was like, listen, you just have to play the odds as a starting pitcher. Like, you're willing to give up.
But I don't like you saying that. I'm sorry.
It's what Glasnow has told us.
I don't like Glasnow saying that. I don't care. I don't like anybody. Well, I mean, whether I'll put that out there,
because nobody wants it out there. But if teams, I talked to an agent recently who said that teams, when they make long-term offers to pitchers, they build in the fact that they know they're going to be without them for 12 to 18 months during a long-term offer. They just build it in. They bake it in. If the guy hasn't had major arm surgery yet, they bake it in. Whether you like to hear it or not, I have to tell you the truth.
That's not the truth. That's conjecture.
No, the truth is that it gets built into the offer. So the conjecture is that somebody's going to get injured. The truth is
that's what I'm talking about. I don't care what team. I'm sick of that.
Wow. Okay, can we get on to more interesting stuff then?
Let's move on.
Yeah. By the way, very quickly, you have no problem. I mean, this was the correct answer to the test. Paul Skenes should be starting the All-Star game. I know there are other guys who might have seniority. There's nobody who has a more electrifying immediacy in this game than Paul Skenes.
If you would have asked me as a player, I would have hated it. Now that I'm removed and I'm more of a fan and see the game from a much broader scope and think about what's best for the game itself, I think, yes, this is the no-brainer move. But as a player, I bet there's a bunch of players like, come on, man. Like, this guy's got 11 starts, like let him get some dirt in his play. I guarantee that conversation is being had all over the big leagues. Whether that's right or not, I don't know. I don't think that. I think this is the right play.
So what do you think you would say as a player?
That somebody deserves it more. So a guy that's pitched the entire season, or a guy that's got more years in the big leagues. That's how I would have thought. I'm just being honest.
Well, okay. First of all, him not pitching more games this year is not his fault. Has he been the best pitcher in the National League?
I have to look at the numbers. I don't think so. Overall.
Really? You don't think so? You've watched a lot of his starts. You don't think that he's the best pitcher right now in the National League?
Numbers-wise, he isn't.
Counting numbers, he's not. Everything else, he's dominant.
What's Ronaldo Lopez doing right now?
Right around the same ERA.
I think he's got a better ERA than him.
It's very close. We're talking about
1.71. What Skenes got?
I think 1.81.
Well, there you go. I'm just saying that conversation is being had.
Yeah. It's the All-Star game, bro.
1.9. Okay. He's good, dude. I said it's the right call. Don't come at me.
Well, listen,
I came at you. Don't come at me.
Okay. Now let's get on to yesterday's game, where Skenes 7 no hit, 11 strikeout. against the Brewers. Pirates were hanging on to a 1-0 lead. They ended up getting through there 1-0. Now, Skenes was pulled after 99 pitches. So his manager, Derek Shelton, of course, was asked, what's going on?
It really didn't have anything to do with the pitch count. Everybody makes it about pitch counts. It was about where he was at. It was about, trusting your eyes, trusting him. When I went and talked to him after that, I mean, he was tired. They did a good job of wearing him down. And, I mean, he gave us everything he had.
Not to push back.
Okay, gave us everything he had. And the conversation continued, actually, not to have any pushback, which is a terrible way to ask a question. If you want to ask a question, go ask a question. And the question was, what did you see that led him to think he was tired? And he said, well, they got to him, it looked like after the 6th, he was pretty exhausted. We pushed him out there for the 7th, and he made it through on kind of a short pitch inning, if you will. Are you okay with Derek Shelton's explanation here?
I actually am. I mean, that's kind of, he said it's not because of the pitch count. If it was because of the pitch count, which I think it probably was kind of the pitch count, but him saying it was the pitch count, I went and I saw for my own eyes and I looked at him. I've seen him pitch a bunch that he was tired. If that is the explanation and that's the truth, then I don't have a problem with it. The number 100 is what I have a problem with. I put that out yesterday on Twitter. A lot of people love it. A lot of people hate it. That's the internet these days. I think that's what we have to focus on more instead of the arbitrary number 100. It's like, okay, what's the velo? Is he breaking down mechanically? Is he tired? Has he voiced that to you? These guys that are there in the dugout watching a pitch day in and day out, they have a better view of what we do, just watching the game. So if he went and said, hey, like he looked tired and I'm going to protect him because of that, then I actually have no problem with it. If it was just because he was at 99 pitches, and again, like that had to have crept into the mind, right? If he was at 85 pitches right there, but he was also looked the exact same, does Derek Shelton take him out?
No way. No, he was also protecting judgment come the 9th inning because he probably wasn't going to have another 6 or 7 pitch inning. He wasn't going to enter the 9th at 107 pitches, let's say.
Yeah.
He was probably going to enter the 9th inning at 115. Well, now you get into
that, but I know what you're saying.
Most likely.
He just had a 6-pitch inning.
He did. But my guess is that the Brewers, have you guys pay attention to, you have to probably pay attention to pitch counts, don't you?
What are you going to take pitches against that guy? Absolutely not. Put yourself in a hole against him? No, like you're just trying to figure out your at bat. You're trying to get, a heater in the zone that you can handle or something. You're not thinking about, hey, let me just take a strike against this guy. That's for sure.
Okay, that's fair. I get that. My point is that if you just play the odds, my guess is that he doesn't walk out after the 8th inning at 107. He probably is closer to 115. And then Derek Shelton's really screwed because you've got a guy who possibly has a no-hitter. You're hanging on to a 1-0 lead. You are very much in the playoff chase. And, oh, by the way, he is not only the present but the future of our franchise. And I can't be the one who screwed him up physically, even though there is no proof that – I mean, the guy threw 130-some pitches in college. He didn't break.
That's my big issue is, people act like we have this, like, knowledge of what's – or you're going to break this guy if you throw him too much. Like, no, that's not – the research doesn't show that. We have like zero research that shows anything. And like I put out yesterday, all the guys, the smart front office guys, they believe 100 is arbitrary. They point to let's see the dips in the data or the mechanics. Like I said, they say that's a clear indication, the level of stress pitches he's thrown. Like that's what they're looking at now. But even that's not like foolproof. Like we just don't know. So look, Shelty gave the right answer right there, in my opinion. Like he gave the right answer. How much of that was like actually like his thought process? I don't know. I think I'm more on board of what you're saying. Like, hey man, like I'm going to get him out now before I have to make that decision going into the 9th. I've had a night to sleep on it. As this was going on, I'm like, come on, like let's leave this guy in. I think the collective baseball world was on this. I don't think there was a right answer right there. I think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
All right, a lot of Skenes talk today, and well earned, because there were two huge stories. He will become the first rookie to start an All-Star game since 1995, where the game was played in Arlington, Texas. Hideo Nomo, obviously a little bit of an asterisk. He had been a professional at the highest league over in Japan before he came over here, but still pretty impressive. I believe he's going to be the youngest All-Star starter since Fernando Mania in 1981. That game played in Cleveland. Speaking of Mania, why don't you come join our All-Star party? If you're in the Dallas Metroplex area and you don't have a ticket to the game, come hang with us. It's next Tuesday. It's going to be July 16th. It's going to be at Community Beer Company. All those awesome content creators, plus Jake, will all be there. So make sure you join us. We're going to hang out. We're going to eat. We're going to drink. We're going to have some laughs. It's a great John Boy Media community gathering. We're going to be playing trivia throughout the night. It's going to be awesome. I cannot wait.
Oh, I'm excited. Yes. Sorry, I'm looking up something over here. It's going to be a great night. My favorite event that we do all year. We talked about this all the time. And I think we're wearing cowboy hats probably. I don't know.
I think that's the rumor. Click on the link in the description, by the way, to go get your tickets today. There you go. All right, let's move on. My Mets, they sweep while the Padres have dropped 4 in a row, which means that New York wakes up holding a playoff spot for the first time in more than 2 months. This weekend, Rockies are in New York. Padres will play host to the Braves. Which of those playoff hopefuls, and I'm talking about the Mets and the Padres, will be more interesting to watch in the second half of the season?
I think it's got to be the Mets. Like the Padres, I expect to continue doing their thing. I like the roster. It's definitely shaped up really well as we've seen the season go on. There were some question marks with it going into the season, but I think a lot of them have been answered. I think knowing their GM, he's going to make some moves, all that stuff. So the Padres are kind of like the thing. They're going to be who the Padres are. The Mets, you declared them dead. I mean, I think a lot of people agreed with you. They weren't looking good. Some of the contracts they were looking to get rid of. They were already talking about, making moves at the deadline. Then all of a sudden they go off on this run. And we got Jose Iglesias and the song and what he's doing on the field. And you got Mark Vientos establishing himself. And everything has just lined up now where they're in a playoff spot. So now what do you do? Do you stick with this roster as it is? Do you go out and make moves? It just changed so quickly. And we see that, year to year, we see, a team or two do that. The Reds did that last year, but because it's the Mets, I think it just is so interesting. They got the owner, they got the ability to go do it. The payroll was already sky high, but he doesn't care. They're going to add. I think they have to add. But they're going to be a fascinating watch, because if there's anything we know about the Mets, and I don't want to put this out there, but we've seen the ups and downs of this franchise over the last however many years. They're riding the high right now. And I'm hoping, because I want to see this team do good, I'm hoping they continue and they just kind of keep riding the high and level out whatever it is. I want to see this team in the postseason, but they have some very, very interesting decisions ahead. So I'm very much more looking forward to watching them the rest of the year. The whole Pete Alonso thing is fascinating to me. The way they've gotten back into the race is just, the pitchers are using. Jose Quintana has had an incredible 3 starts in a row. It doesn't seem like it should be happening, but it is happening. So I look forward to watching them the rest of the summer.
I know that the Padres are going to be interesting because AJ Preller is going to make them interesting. He is. He's the loose cannon. He's the dude at the party who is going to act a fool, but in a really fun way. So I can't wait to see what happens with him around the week of July 30th. So I know that's going to be a blast. The thing that sucks is that it really sounds like Tatis is not coming back for a little while. It might even be September with him. So that's kind of a bummer. That's a real bummer, actually. But they have enough really good players, and Manny Machado has seemingly turned his season around to where I think I know where that is going. I have no idea where my Mets are going. Okay, I just want to remind everybody that on May 29th, that's 44 days ago, the Mets were 11 games under 500. They were 22-33. They were 6 games out of a playoff spot, and somebody around here at this company said they were DOA, that they were done. I did not believe that at the time. I was using that as an invigorating, life-saving speech to try and get my Mets going, because I believe I said at the beginning of the year that I wasn't so sure that with Philly and Atlanta in the division that they could take the NL East crown. But I said, you know what? They might have enough. And so at the time, it might have looked like I was going against the Mets. But I wasn't. I was just trying to invigorate a crowd, get a clubhouse rallied. And you know what? If they want to point to that day and say, that old man counted us out, that's fine. That's fine. You can step on me to get over to the top of the mountain if you need to, but just know that my heart was in the right place that day. And they are fascinating because they've got an owner that is the true wild card here. Can Steve Cohen have the discipline to say, you know what, let's roll with this team. Let's not strike big with anybody that maybe can get us into the playoffs, but maybe not. Let's roll with this team because we've poured enough finances and resources into this squad that when Senga comes back in the next half because he's pitching into the third inning now and his rehab starts, we're going to be okay. So the Mets are really interesting, and I'll be there every step of the way.
Oh my gosh, it's disgusting. This program, this whole program is disgusting right now. If I was to tell you, Chris, that a collection of Luis Severino, Jose Quintana, and Sean Manaea were leading the way, what year would you say it was?
That's true. I would be like,
2017?
Hey, how's 2016 taste? Pretty good?
Sevy's thrown 18 games for them, 3.78. Quintana's thrown 18 games, them a 3.91. Like I said, in the last 3 games, he's been really good. Manaea's thrown 17 games for them with a 3.43. Fountain of youth out there. I love it, man. They are fascinating, aren't they?
Oh, they're a great watch.
Like,
it'll be good.
Think
good
about
sport.
this.
Yeah.
The journeyman middle infielder who has the number 1 Latin song in the world is on their team, tearing it up. Only the Mets.
Dude, Brandon Nimmo, after he clubs another homer, is going into the dugout with an OMG, like, living graphic that he gets to walk around. I mean, it's fantastic. You know what else is fantastic? The way you can treat your dog. Here's what I want you to do. If you have that kibble, kick it to the side. You have that crap goo in a can, send that somewhere else. I want you to start feeding your dog food that's really, food. The Farmer's Dog, it is developed with vets. It's made from fresh and real meat and veggies, portioned perfectly for your dog and delivered right to your door. It's such an easy process. You head on over to thefarmersdog.com. It takes you less than 5 minutes to fill out a questionnaire. I'm talking about the age, the breed, the size of your dog, how much exercise it gets, and what it normally eats. And you know what? They're going to figure it out, and they're going to send it right to your doorstep. And comes in frozen packets, and it actually has their name on it. So ours has Sydney on it. You go stick them in the freezer, and about 24 hours before you need them, you go stick them in the fridge, and they'll thaw out. And your dog is going to be such a happy pup. I'll tell you, first thing that Sydney does when she rolls downstairs, she heads on over to that fridge because she's like, I want to go, Pop. I can't wait for that Farmer's Dog. It comes in a variety of flavors as well, right? There's the beef, there's the chicken, there's the pork, and your dogs are going to love it. It's going to make them healthier. It's going to give them more energy. It'll help their coat, their fur, their skin, their breath, easier digestion, which means smaller, better poops. It just is it's the 5-tool package of dog food. And it doesn't matter if your dog is old, like my Sydney, who's about 12 or 13. We rescued her. We don't know exactly how old she is. Or whether you're just a young pup getting started. The time is now to begin investing in their health. So help keep your dog healthy and playing ball with you. You're going to get 50% off your first box at thefarmersdog.com/today. Plus, you get free shipping, which is a big deal because it's not a teeny tiny box. It's a big ass box. So head on over to thefarmersdog.com/today. Get half off because at the end of the day, what dog owner doesn't want their pup looking up at them with those big chocolate eyes and saying, Rary, ry, raroo, ry, raroo. That's what you want. We continue on. Cody Bellinger, this sucks, ended up on the injured list. Broken finger. Tough for the Cubs, who ended up sweeping Baltimore in the Charm City, playing good baseball. Tough for teams interested in trading for the services of Cody Bellinger. That includes the Houston Astros, who reportedly are looking for some help at first base and or in the rotation. Give me one name that is the perfect fit for the Astros as they are charging hard.
The easy one here is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I mean, the Blue Jays are out of this thing. Do you know how far back they are? They're 14 games out in the division. They're 8.5 back of the wild card. They're out of it. I know they said, hey, we don't want to trade these guys. Vladdy's going off now. It's a good time to trade him. He's the easy answer there. I'm going to give you one more that's like not going to happen, but I think like it's not a bad fit. It's just that the Twins probably don't want to see this guy in the playoffs. Carlos Santana for my Twins. He's been very good for the Twins as of late. They love him in the clubhouse. I love him personally. I don't want to see him leave. But you got Miranda kind of like doing his thing. You keep the DH spot open. Santana switch hitter, so I think Houston would really like him. I think he'd fit like perfectly in that clubhouse too. Is it going to happen? I don't know, but he would be like a really, really good fit for Houston. I had to say that. I started thinking of the names. I went, up and down, like, the first base leaderboard and kind of, guys that would make sense. I know they were talking Christian Walker. That ain't happening.
I don't think so.
Even though he's a free agent at the end of the year, the Diamondbacks are 1 game back right now. So those two, Vlad and Carlos Santana.
Those are 2 really good names. Here's the problem. I think Santana is significantly easier because Vlad is going to cost you in terms of prospects and young players. And I don't know if Houston has that to give up. Their farm system is not very deep right now. They only have one of the top 100 prospects, according to MLB.com. And they're going to be fighting against some other teams. I mean, if Vlad is going to be dangled out there, you damn well better be sure that the Houston Astros aren't the only team that's placing that call.
Well, Dana Brown said, like, hey, look, obviously we want to make some moves, but if we can't make moves, we're going to count on guys from within. And what he's referencing there is, hey, like if they don't accept our offer, or we don't have enough, or we don't want to give up that much, then we'll just promote from within. That's why, like, I started to think Carlos Santana could be an interesting one.
Yeah. So that took me to the pitching market, which I know is a tough battle as well. And I look at them. Last night, Jake Bloss came off the injured list. So they have him, but they don't know what he is as a major leaguer. Blanco, Arrighetti, those guys have never pitched more than 125 innings at any pro level. So we have to be cautious with those guys in the second half. No timetable on Justin Verlander coming back. They think he's coming back. He's got a neck issue. They just can't pin it down. And then McCullers, they had to dial back recently. He was not recovering the way that they thought he would in between throwing sessions. So you can't even count on him. Luis Garcia is the name to watch in him coming back from arm surgery. He's going to be able to help them. We don't know what role it's going to be, but he will be able to help them. But they definitely still need, at the very least, an innings eater. And more, I think it's more important that they would feel comfortable starting a guy in the postseason that they obtain. So the names that come to mind are Jack Flaherty, which once again, I think that he is going to be one of the hottest commodities. Like if you can't get Garrett Crochet, I think he's the next guy in line. So I think there's a ton of teams with more prospect capital to go get Jack Flaherty. Here's the 2 names I've got. One is Chris Bassett, and I know that he's under contract next year for $22 million.
We're plundering the Blue Jays roster.
We are, but I mean, I think you have to. And the selling point to the Blue Jays is you guys hit the reset button. We might not give you everything you want draft capital, but we're going to take on the whole salary, which is something that I don't know if Houston's comfortable doing. The other one, and we just talked about their team, is the Mets. And I think that you might be able to get Luis Severino. I know you're saying, well, hold on, Rose. We just talked about the Mets, maybe adding and going after it. I think one of those guys on a short-term deal, and he's on a 1-year deal, could be had, particularly if they're comfortable with Senga's health, that they might be willing to add in other areas, but subtract in others and still get some prospects. I don't know. It's just a thought.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I can understand it, but I think Houston's in a tough spot, man, where they're competing against a bunch of teams that have better packages to offer. But we'll see how that all works out. Yankees and O's, they come into a first-place battle tonight, both seriously wounded. O's have dropped 4 of their last 6. That included that sweep at home against the Cubs. The Yankees have lost 18 of their last 25. Now, we both expect those teams to be busy at the trade deadline. In fact, John Heyman of MLB Network says that the Yankees have strong interest in Jazz Chisholm of the Miami Marlins, but they would move him back from center field to the infield. Would that be a good move if that happens?
I don't think so, Chris. Like maybe it happens and he comes and just looks great. I know they've I've seen some of the plays that DJ and Glaber have been making lately. I'm assuming that's where he'd be playing, second or third. I don't think you move your Gold Glove shortstop off his position for a guy that's been playing center field for the last couple of years. I don't love the fit. I really don't. I mean, I kind of like the bat there, I guess. But moving him back to the infield is very interesting to me. Could he do it? Yes. Would he be would he be a very good infielder or like a one you want the ball hit to? I don't think so. I didn't see that report until I saw the question, and that's a head scratcher for me, Chris.
So that's a no for you, dog.
That's a no. That'd be a no for me, dog. And for that reason, I'm out.
Okay. Wouldn't he play second base, and wouldn't they figure out what to do with Glaber? And
that's what I'm saying. I mean, yeah, or third base, second or third,
or third base. Yeah. Well, I think that he would move to second, and Glaber would move to third. I don't know what they do with DJ LeMahieu. Who knows? And I also am kind of curious what the Yankees would have to give up for a guy who's kind of a mid 700s OPS. He does have pop. He can steal bases. He's got almost 20 of them. There is also the personality side of Jazz, right? He comes in, he's bouncing.
I don't think that matters.
You don't think that matters at all?
No, because we said that about Verdugo. We said that about Stroman, and they're like beloved by New York right now because Aaron Judge is the guy there. He's a literal giant there. I don't think that matters at all. I think he'd actually fit in well there offensively. What he can bring on the base pass and the personality wouldn't matter to me. It's where are you going to play him?
Well, the thing is you can have a great personality as long as you've got an 800 OPS. I mean, do the Yankee fans still love Alex Verdugo when he's around a 700 OPS? And
it's a good point. Performance trumps all, as my friend Anthony Swarzak used to say.
There you go. Anthony Swarzak, who knew he was going to be quoted today? I dig that.
So
I would give it on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay, sorry. Last time Jazz played the infield was 2022. He played 60 games at second base and 30 at shortstop.
On a scale of 1 to 10, in terms of 10 being the highest, that it's a definite trade partner, Marlins, Yankees, I would give it probably a 6. So just slightly above average. I think it could work. I think it'd be interesting. I think it'd probably be fun for New York fans. They're looking for any sort of help right now, though. God almighty, they is struggling. No question. Hey, today's episode of Baseball Today is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. So we are smack dab in the middle of July. You still have time to get in that summer vacation. And if you're a huge baseball fan, you might think of, well, what cities would you like to see your team play in? And you're like, okay, well, I'll go to any city except the 4 that are in our division. Well, maybe you do have an interest. Yeah, you could learn more about those places. You could watch your team do damage in that city because with hotels and bed and breakfast and vacation rentals and resorts and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find the perfect stay even in your baseball rival cities, right? So take in my division with the Cleveland Guardians. Let's say I've got friends that still live in Cleveland or family, and they love their Guardians. They want to take their family to go see them play, whether that's in Detroit or on the south side of Chicago or a beautiful trip up to Minneapolis, or heck, if you want to go to like one of the hottest places in this country, literally, and go out to Kansas City because you've never seen that beautiful stadium, you go do it. You can find everything you need right there at Booking.com, from hotels at Overlook Stadium to family-friendly resorts. It's all right there, just a click away. So yeah, that right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com. It's an official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. You can do that on the site or in the Booking.com app today. And with that being said, it is time right now for our Booking.com question of the week. Once again, outstanding job by everybody who sent in your questions. We are reading one from Paula Mortensen. Timely. She wrote in, if you could have an all-star break in a city that doesn't currently have a baseball team, I'm assuming a major league team because there's a lot that have minor league teams, where would you have it?
So, are we doing the U.S. here or are we going global?
You can go wherever you want.
I think I'm just like really in need of a vacation because my first thought was Lake Como in Italy. I think I just really want to go there, but that's not going to be my answer. Like I just really want to go there. I want some pasta. I want to be in a boat. Love that. I'm going to go to Maui or somewhere in Hawaii. Like you could choose any Hawaiian city. Great baseball culture out there. State and the cities really love baseball out there, and I think that would be really cool. I believe the Cubs used to have spring training, whether it was in Maui or Honolulu, something like that. So to bring baseball back, I think would be really cool and really well received. And they have, you can use the University of Hawaii's stadium there. I think there's enough facilities out there to get it done. And I feel like guys would be like stoked to go play there. So my answer is, I'm going to say Maui.
I think that's a great call. I'm just checking out the chat. There's a lot of people that are saying Las Vegas, Charlotte, Nashville. I thought about Nashville a little bit.
Those are so typical.
Yeah. So I've got one that is a former major league city. We've played some exhibition games there. I have heard from a ton of former major leaguers how much fun they used to have in Montreal.
Yeah.
I really would love to take it to Montreal. I think now there's no way baseball would ever do it because they've thumbed their nose at that city. A couple of years ago, didn't we? The Rays were going to split half their time between Tampa, St. Pete, and Montreal in the home games. I don't think that thing ever got off the ground, but I would love to go up there. It's one of the cities I have not visited, so I would love to go visit Montreal during the All-Star Game festivities, and I think the players would have a blast.
You're ripping Toronto, taking the whole roster, then you give a little bit of love to the other side of Canada. Yeah.
Hey, listen, I did everything I could to push the Jays in the right direction because I had them in the World Series and losing to the Braves. I'm really good at this shit, huh? God, that was terrible. Paula, thank you very much for being our Booking.com question of the week. Outstanding job. All right, everybody, this was a fun week. Ton of good stuff that we had, and we cannot wait to get down to our content houses in Arlington, Texas. It's going to be awesome for the All-Star Game festivities. We are going to be doing baseball today, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday before we hop on a bird back west. I don't know if you saw that in the schedule, Plouffe, but we do have a show on Wednesday morning.
Sure.
So that's good. Yeah, there you go. All right. That's it. That's all I got for you, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you Monday in Arlington. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome intern, Tommy Young. That is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Monday from the All-Star Game in Texas here on Baseball Today, presented to you by Booking.com.